Hey guys, just a quick one today. The lighting is very bright, although it is a full moon. That's not it's not the light from the moon. Just trying to get this right. So I've been feeling very knackered recently, very tired, almost kind of like on a spirit level. There are some interesting things going on in the solar system, if you want to call it that, if you believe in that. But it's good to kind of know where things are at, and there are many half truths, and one of them being, I think there is a big solar flare about to hit. So if you are feeling unusually tired or restless, this could be the reason. Again, this is another half truth, but the video I want to make today is about life is a short trip. So I had a vision the other day, just kind of deep in thought, and that wasn't anything, I'm no prophet or anything like that, but I do think deeply, and I'm very aware of time, quite obsessed with time really. And I just had a thought that, one day I'll be lying, I'll be sitting next to one of my parents, you know, as they take their final few moments on this earth. And leading up to that time, we might look at photos of when we were all young, and photos of when I was a young child, and videos and stuff, and reminisce. And and then that's, once they're gone, it's like, that's kind of it. It's a wrap. And then one day I'll be on my deathbed, and hopefully I'll have my kids beside me, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of a best case scenario, really. Like, let's be honest, anything can happen in between then. So, and I thought, when I am, if I get to that moment, what that would feel like. And maybe I'll look back on this moment and I already know the answer. It's gonna, it goes by in a flash. You ask any old person, any 90-year-old, like, how did your life, someone at the end of their life, and how did it go by, and they'll say it went by in a flash. And it got me thinking that, although we have our eyes on there is more to this existence, that we do have a purpose, and we are going to an eternal place, but we need to be aware that this life is very temporary. And it, best case scenario, you have a happy, you know sometimes we need to kind of rein it in and kill the ego. And best case scenario, you get married, you have kids, and you have an amazing family, and you and your partner die at the same time. Like, let's be honest, like, that's it, right? And it just got me thinking about who you hang out, how important it is to choose your circle, and who you hang out with is massively important, right? And no one is possessed, right? This is kind of Hollywood things, although it can manifest to that, but it's not like, oh, that person's got demon possessed, or that. The word possessed comes from the Aramaic word, I believe, demonized, right? So when it says that in the Bible, it doesn't mean possessed, it means demonized, right? And every person that's ever walked this planet apart from Jesus Christ has been demonized, right? Okay. We all fall short, and we can all, and it can be very subtle, right? Someone, for example, telling you, oh, this is how, you should always be, this is, if someone picks a pattern of behavior from your past, So if someone picks a pattern of behavior from your past and defines you by it, that is a form of witchcraft, my friend, and be gone, Satan. Okay? We love them anyway, pray for them anyway, but life is too short, right? It says, above all else, guard your heart, because everything flows from it. Okay, so we should help people, and we should give, we should be there for people, but that doesn't mean everyone has access. Okay, and I've seen it time and time again. The enemy wants to steal, kill, and destroy, right? And by stealing your time, he's able to kind of do all of those things at once, and people waste your time like nothing else. Like, think of how many situations you've been in, people you thought would be there forever, or you met on a night out and they're like, oh, we're going to be friends forever, and you never hear from them again, or even worse, they waste your time. Okay, because sometimes it's better for things to be worse than it is for things to kind of like just go along steadily, influenced by Satan, right? And I'll explain this in a second. So if you meet someone and they're supposed to be your friend and they slap you in the face, it's kind of better. That's kind of a good thing, right? Because you can decide in that point to slap them back. Hopefully you won't, or just say to them that this is you've something that bad, someone cheats on you or slaps you in the face, I'm using that as an example, right? That is a clear cross of a boundary, okay? And you cut them off at that point. Most normal, like rational people would. But when someone belittles you and says these little things, these little digs, see, Satan is very subtle, and quite often he won't slap you in the face. I mean, you look at every single emperor, not every single one, but a lot of great emperors, they weren't brought down by the other faction. They were brought down, stabbed by their closest friend. Okay, this is a pattern that repeats itself in history, and you have to come to a point in your life where you are happy being on your own. Okay, and it's ironic because if you're not happy being on your own, you constantly seek people. You end up being alone. Life is quite ironic and quite, it can seem quite cruel, but it's trying to teach you the lesson. And some people just go around making the same mistakes and not learning the lesson. And if the lesson is you need to be alone, and then as a product of following God's will and being obedient to God and being happy on your own and knowing that you're never alone anyway because God's with you, you end up getting everything else, and then you're never actually truly alone. You're only truly alone if you chase like-minded people, right? And like I said, the devil's very subtle, and you have to come to a point where you're able to and willing to cut off friends, family. It can be anyone, it can be family, right? Quite often it is members of your family, and they won't announce themselves as this demonized person, whatever, and really they are a child of God, and they deserve forgiveness and love and compassion. But sometimes the most loving thing you can do for everyone is to cut them off and focus on the people that are real. A handful of people. It might be your dad, your partner, and maybe one close friend. That's all you really need in this life. And I've tried to fit in, and I've been down that road of tried to fit in and people please, and you just end up being alone and then not happy being on your own. And that's a scary place to be, because then you can be really manipulated by people. Because some people, you think they're your friend, but they're not your friend. Okay, it's the subtleties. When you're doing really well, when you're starting to ascend and do really well, they're a little bit too quiet. When you fall down, when you fall into a pit, they're there straight away, and they won't announce themselves. Like Robert Greene says, you can't fake a micro expression. So quite often that's when they'll reveal themselves, and it's hard to figure out. It's also the things they say. Like if they say something that annoys you, look, people are not ignorant. right? People choose ignorance because that's bliss to them, right? But we're not talking about them. We're talking about God's people. If you believe in God and you're trying to build a relationship with God and go down that narrow path, this is something you will have to do. Okay? And these people really, they just lack the depth to do the inner work, and they envy you, right? Some of them are not even aware that they're doing it, but because they lack that connection to source, they're easily demonized. So watch out for these people, because they will waste your life. And when you're on your deathbed, you want to make sure that you spent your life with the people that you love, having the conversations that you want to have, doing the things that you want to do, right? And these people will waste your time, and it's much better that they slap you in the face or do something so bad that they reveal themselves as someone bad straight away, and they don't waste years of your time. Because I don't know about you, but I'd rather get slapped in the face than someone waste 5 years of my time, because my time is worth a lot more, right? I can take a slap, but I can't waste another 5 years of my life on idiots that lack the strength to do that inner work, to follow God. Because people choose ignorance, right? You get to a point when people, you start speaking about the truth, and they cut off, right? They sort of like, they build a wall up, right? And you think, look, you could give someone the instructions of how to like achieve in life, like kind of like, you know, it's like if you gave someone the blueprint on how to achieve the life of their dreams, would they do it? Probably not, right? A lot of people just all talk, they entertain you, right? They want to know like the spiritual things, but they're just playing a game. If they really wanted to do the spiritual work, they would have done it, right? And it's the little things they say, the little digs that really annoy you, and they know that it annoys you, right? But if they did it at a more consistent frequency, if they did it more often, you'd be like, dude, I just told you this is annoying me, and you've just done it again and again. Like, nah, enough is enough, mate. But they wait until you just kind of get over it and you put your guard down, and then they do it again, right? It's a pattern I've seen over and over again, and there's nothing you can say to convince me otherwise, because these sorts of patterns of behavior, they might not even realize that they're doing it. But quite frankly, your life is too precious and too important and too short to waste on people that won't do the work when they could. So don't waste your time, guys, right? The time is nigh. Life is short. Spend it with the people that you love and make the most of it, because it's a one-way trip. But we're heading to Jesus, we're heading to eternal life, but everything in this life is temporary. Don't waste it. God bless.